The Las Vegas Grand Prix is just around the corner, and although the desert city may be better known for its scorching heat, Elvis weddings, and adult diapers on the slot machines, this race is going to be something different. It's time to dig out those cross-country skis, get your crampons on, fill your thermos, and get ready to battle blizzard conditions because, folks, winter is coming. Alright, that may be a bit of hyperbole, but tell me this, when has an F1 channel ever engaged in that before? Now, this Vegas Grand Prix is actually not the first. The City of Lights hosted the Grand Prix for the first time back in 1981, known as the Caesars Palace Grand Prix. It ran for 2 years before it was canned because, well, it was by all accounts a little bit naff. If you're old enough and grey enough to remember, let us know in the comments what you thought of it back then. Sadly, there is much concern that this brand new, extra shiny, extra special Grand Prix is going to be a flop just like the earlier ones. Liberty Media, F1's owners, have been keen to capitalize on F1's growing popularity in the US, with the races this season being held in Miami, Austin, and soon Las Vegas. With its glitz and glamour, depending on who you ask, its familiarity with hosting huge events, boxing a notable standout, and its predictable desert weather, more on that soon, it seems like the perfect place, a natural spot for F1. Hell, I've even heard this race described as America's Monaco. That's obviously good lord, that's utter fucking nonsense, but hey, on paper, Las Vegas does seem like a good candidate. In fact, it looks so good on paper that it moved Liberty Media to drop nearly $400 million on the event in Vegas, including acquiring land and building a permanent pit and paddock. Nevertheless, the design of the racetrack itself has failed to inspire fans with a fairly boring-looking layout. It will at least see the drivers racing past iconic landmarks, though, like the Bellagio, MGM Grand, and the new MSG Sphere, and so should at least make for some optically stunning and visually memorable images, which is at least a step up from the 1980s Caesar Palace Grand Prix, which looks more like go-karting for a kid's birthday party in an abandoned car park than it does the pinnacle of motorsport. However, it's the weather that's got the teams and Pirelli working on their race weekend action plans. Only this time, it's not the heat that drivers might encounter in places like Bahrain, but the cold. Now, Las Vegas isn't so famous for its cold, however, it is a desert city. Yes, in the summer it's hot morning, noon, and night, but in November, while daytime temperatures can still be a balmy mid-20 degrees, at nighttime those temperatures can plummet. No problem, you may think, just hold the event in the daytime. Well, that would be an awesome idea, but some utter muppet at F1, Ross Brawn, never bothered to even do the most basic temperature check for that time of year before dropping $500 million. And perhaps F1 was too easily pushed by the casinos, who seem to prefer nighttime events, as more people are likely to get boozed up and therefore spend more money. As such, the race is happening at 10 p.m. local time, where average temps for this time of year is around 8 degrees Celsius. However, some are forecasting a temperature for the qualifying as low as 4 degrees, and if the actual race follows that and hits 4 degrees, this would make the Las Vegas GP the coldest GP ever, supplanting the 1978 Canadian Grand Prix, which bottomed out at 5 degrees Celsius. Now, getting the finely tuned Formula One cars to run well at such low temps is a challenge and will tax the very best of teams, not to mention the tyres. Pirelli's head of motorsport, Mario Isola, said, "It is a step into the unknown for everybody, I believe. Las Vegas will be cold. It's a street circuit, so we were working with the teams and we asked them for simulations in advance to try to understand how much energy the layout of the circuit is putting on tires. We had information from the companies that are making the tarmac in order to understand how abrasive the tarmac is and what is the level of grip we can expect. I can imagine a lot of track evolution and very low grip, so the drivers will complain. We will manage also this situation, but it's a big unknown. Fast track, long straights, high speed are all conditions that are quite difficult to manage." And that's the kicker. The track layout, with its long straights and few corners, means getting and sustaining any heat in the tires is going to be a challenge. Driving will be tricky. It will really test the drivers, and if any driver fails to rise to the challenge and the safety car comes out, this will further hamper the efforts to warm up those tires, and keeping the Pirelli rubber inside its preferred temperature window is the defining performance differentiator when it comes to tires. Normally, it's about keeping them cool, but this weekend it will very much be about keeping them warm. And unfortunately, there are at best 3 moderately demanding corner combinations here that could put heat into the tires. Turns 2 to 3 onto Koval Lane, turns 6 around the Sphere, and turns 10 to 11 at the far end of the circuit. There's also a kink on the front straight taken at high speed. But any good work done there will be undone immediately by the 3 long straights, where the rubber will chill rapidly as the cars approach the key big braking zones. And to add fuel to the icy fire is the fact that it's a brand new, freshly made track, super smooth with no rubber down. When asked about the racing ahead, Mercedes head of trackside performance Riccardo Mosconi said this: "The first key factor in Vegas is going to be the cold temperatures and getting the tires to work. We are expecting temperatures to be in the single digits at this time of year due to the fact we are going to be racing at night." And talking about the actual track surface, he went on to add, "And we don't know exactly at this point in time what the aggregated type will be. Nobody will know until we turn up in Vegas and start driving around. I think this will be the key element of the weekend." However, it has to be said, all this doom and gloom has arguably been good for the Las Vegas GP. After all, as they say, all publicity is good publicity, and given Max's dominance and the predictable finish to the championship, fans at this time of the season may very well be failing to tune in. But such is the chat about Las Vegas that it could have great viewing numbers. Although I'd like to take a second to point out that the 10 p.m. start is not only a bizarre choice in terms of weather, but also when you consider it means that even East Coast Americans will have to be up at 1 a.m. to watch the event. It really does make you think, if the folks at F1, pardon my French here, know their arsehole from their elbow. But sticking with the bright side though, as long as you're not a Red Bull fan, is that the team may find this weekend of all the teams particularly challenging. For all the RB19's strengths, its biggest weakness is getting the tires switched on for a qualifying lap. It's a feature, not a bug, with that same quality usually paying dividends in race conditions with better tire life. But that deficit will be even bigger around a track like this. Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez might need to attempt some novel qualifying preparation laps to ensure they're ready, more so than the other drivers anyway. And while the RB19's race pace is normally much stronger, so qualifying isn't make or break, there are no guarantees it'll be able to get the tires running with anything like the same efficiency as the other cars in time to put in a strong performance. It'll make the car especially vulnerable around the pit stops, where tire warm-up will be strategically decisive. And on the flip side to that, teams like Ferrari and McLaren, who have struggled with tire wear all season, might find that this track and these conditions could be built for them. So what do you think? Will the Las Vegas be an exciting city circuit success that pushes the technical proficiency of drivers and teams alike to the limit? Or will it all be a testament to F1 and Liberty Media's arrogance? Let us know in the comments.